Social Media Monday again. Lilith, I am so excited. I've been in a hole for 2 weeks, so that's why we missed last week. But, man, there's a lot to talk about today.
Definitely. Really excited for this week.
Yeah. And it's funny because at the end of the last episode, we had laid out a couple of things. We're like, next week we're going to talk about this, and next week we'll talk about that. You know what? I only remember one of those things. Everything else, because of all the news that came out, kind of went by the wayside. So those of you that listen, don't worry. We'll find a way back to those things, I promise you. How do you want to start? Do you want to jump into news first? Because there's a lot of news, or should we do kind of our format and talk about the subject first?
Yeah, let's talk about the subject first, because it is kind of important as an independent content producer to be able to have a mailing list, and the importance of a good business email and all those things.
Well, this is something that I feel we have really not connected on as a company, for Southgate Media Group in particular. We have a mail list through MailChimp. With everything we've done here, you know this, but the listener may not know this, I always look at all the options. I try to figure out what's the best route to go. It's the reason I chose Libsyn. We talked about Libsyn on one of the other shows. It's the reason I chose MailChimp. I like the tools it has. I like the usage. And now that I'm trying to grip onto making a campaign and using it more effectively, man, I'm loving it even more.
I definitely think MailChimp is really good for starting out, and their free option is just definitely the best out of anybody out there. But yeah, if you're a small company starting off, I think it's really great. Their templates are amazing. It's very easy to understand, drag and drop. But there are some alternatives to MailChimp that other people might be better suited for. It just depends on the size of your mailing list and where you're starting out at, honestly.
Sure. And for me, for somebody who's exploring this and trying to learn about it, it's fantastic. And the other thing I have encountered with MailChimp, and I haven't encountered with the others as much, I look at online classes like iTunes U and Skillshare and all those places. MailChimp has great outreach. Like on Skillshare, they have a class on there. You can take it for free, where they explain how to build a mail list and how to utilize it properly. And it's one of their training people who's fantastic. I found him on YouTube too, and I found a lot of YouTubers talking specifically about the tools in MailChimp. So I got to say, they do a good job with outreach and education. You're right. There are other options, and there are ways to grow into that. But as a starting point, for the person with, one blog or one podcast, MailChimp's definitely a great way to go.
It's also the most integrated of the email mailing list programs. It's integrated with everything like Salesforce, Eventbrite, Google, Twitter, Facebook, Shopify, and SurveyMonkey. So that's another bonus that it has over a lot of the other things.
Well, and I think that you just hit on something. Let's say you are a bigger firm and you've got a whole mail thing going, and you're using one of these more, pro programs. There are tools here that, maybe from a grassroots standpoint, you could still utilize.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
The mobile app is fantastic too, by the way.
I haven't used it yet. See, I just learned something. It's really good, huh?
Oh, yeah. And the analytics on it are just like really, really awesome. I mean, I love MailChimp. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, it just depends on where you're starting out at. And if this is your first introductory, like toe in the water, MailChimp, you couldn't get better.
Before we go on, because this isn't an ad for MailChimp, I want you to, can you just name a couple of the other ones that you say, hey, you might be a little bit bigger, explore these?
I personally have used, back in my PR days, Simplycast. The free plan is up to 2,000 contacts, and it has unlimited email. The regular plan started just $10 a month. Then I know a lot of people in the business use, I think it is iContact.
Yeah, I've used
really
that.
For smaller people, though.
I've used that, and I actually made the switch to MailChimp because I liked MailChimp more, even though
their pricing isn't very competitive.
Right. It was a good service, but MailChimp just fit me better. Plus, once again, I love the analytics on here. I mean, for me, every time I go in here, it just really hits what I need.
Another one people really seem to love is Mad Mimi, and it's definitely really affordable. The plan started at $10 for 500 contacts. They have a free plan that gives you storage for up to 100 subscribers, and they even kind of will customize a plan for you. But I think what a lot of people like about it is their customer service. And that's really important when you're just starting out with an email campaign and newsletters and things like that. You are timid and you want to know that, there's somebody going to be there to hold your hand and they'll definitely answer your email within 12 to 24 hours instead of.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So here's the thing with the mailing list. It seems kind of old school at this point. And it's funny because, old school is, you licked an envelope and you sent it off. But it seems old when we've got all this social media. But to me, the more I explore this, the more it seems to me, logically, that there should be a lot of effort put towards email and towards setting this up, because I think that a lot of it just goes by the wayside. And yeah, we get a lot of emails and we skip past them. But the people that subscribe to your email list a lot of times do it with purpose. That you're not just lost in the fog. And when I say that, like, I'm looking at our averages. One of the things MailChimp has is it has, amount of opens, the list average, and then what the industry average is. And industry average for, like, this was one where I was promoting an event we did, said that it's like a 1.8% industry average. So they're talking, you send out a mass email about an event you have coming up, right? For us, we're sitting at around, on average, over the course of, since we've had it, 42%. So that means those people are looking at the email I'm sending. This is a great way to reach customers. And even at 1.8%, from being in marketing that they say if you hit 2 or 3%, you're hitting a home run. And at 1.8% for an event, an event is something that's very targeted. They're not going to open it if the date doesn't match what they need, and like, that's a very targeted thing. 1.8% is pretty good. I think that's a pretty effective marketing tool.
It definitely is. And I think something that is, with podcasting and just content providing in general online is that you are already very intimate with your user base. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
so
yes.
They're definitely more likely to want to hear what you have to say and to click and to know what's going on and what events you have.
Well, and I think that, like, when you look at Twitter or Facebook, those are more conversational. I mean, they are social media. You are having a social interaction. Email isn't necessarily social because it's not an immediate return, but it seems to be a really effective tool. It seems to be something that, like, unless it's something I just don't care about, I typically look at it. It seems to get through that door where a lot of the social media stuff, you scan so much and then at some point you just go like, okay, I'm not going back 2 hours of postings. And so you miss a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay. You've obviously done some stuff with email. I picked up a couple of strategies and I want to kind of explore this with you. So, I mean, we've talked about the benefits of it, but here's what we're doing. I think that might be the best way to framework this. So on the website, I'm doing this big website overhaul, and I've overhauled a couple of shows. If you want to see them, if you go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, let's see, probably the best one, the most complete right now is if you go to /Nuff Said podcast. That one, all the elements, let's rephrase that. Most of the elements, I mean, come on, you guys are content creators. It's never all. Most of the elements are there. One of the things that we did was we popped up in the upper right-hand corner, we've got a thing for Amazon, for an affiliate sponsor that we're really trying to promote those affiliate sponsors. Because people ask, how can I support you? They don't necessarily mean just give you money. What they mean is, if I go to Amazon and I shop through your link, does that give you something? So we put that up in the right-hand corner. Right under that, though, is a join our mailing list. Really easy. It's right there. Top thing you see. Second to top thing. I think that's really important. You got to make it really easy for people to sign up. Since we've done that, we have gone up, I don't know, maybe 20% in our email subscribers. And that's only been a week that I've done this.
Ooh, nice.
Now, do I think it's going to stay there? I actually hope that it explodes for a while and we actually pick up a ton of subscribers. And then I figure that'll cool off. You're not going to keep that kind of pace up. But this is something we've never done before. We had it buried at the bottom of the page. So getting it up there, first thing that people see, and make it easy. It was too complicated before. I had join our mailing list, click here to do so. Underneath it, I had like a whole template thing. I thought this will be easy. No, it says join our mailing list, and it has a thing where you can just enter your email and hit send. Done. You never have to leave the page. Yes. The nice thing is it's integrated to MailChimp. It goes immediately to MailChimp. And in I use Squarespace. In Squarespace, when you set that up, you can select which service that they have a partnership that it goes to. So if you manage your email through Google, you can actually have it just go to Google. If you use it through MailChimp, you can have it go right to MailChimp. It's really great. And you can set so that it says, like in our case, we have 88 shows, right? We can say, send it to the fans of the Nuff Said podcast, send it to New Media Lab, send it to Southgate Media Group in general. That way, wherever your entry point was, if you want the email from that thing, you can do that. And I think that's another key is finding ways to organize this. And I am not an admin person. I wrestled with this. Admin is my tool of ignorance. I have a very difficult time with it, but this is key, is getting that organized so that when you do target, if you are doing, let's say we're doing something with Entertainment Earth, they come out with a new, Walking Dead bobblehead and they're doing a promotion on it. Well, the people that listen to our Walking Dead show, I can do an email campaign straight to them. Or I can say, you know what? I want it to go to them. I want it to go to the ones that like all the horror things. Boom. Then it's not going to the person who listens to New Media Lab or is, listening to the Pinterest podcast. They don't want zombies showing up in their mailbox. So that organization I think is important.
Another good thing about MailChimp is their API is so open and they offer so much documentation. So if you are like a clueless admin and, you're just kind of bumbling around, it's just there for you to automatically add in directly into your code. That's another thing that I like as somebody who does a lot of the back end design and stuff like that now.
Yeah, well, and as somebody who stumbles through it, like you said, I really appreciate that too. Okay, so now that we've kind of set that up, I want to get your feedback, and then I want to tell you what I've kind of discovered. How would you use this? So somebody's clicked on it, they put their email in. What do you do? What is your move?
I've only used MailChimp for direct,
doesn't have to be MailChimp. I'm talking email campaigns.
Just, in general, usually it's for specific events and stuff like that, not like on a daily. But I will say a podcast that gets it right is She Knows. Their campaigns, they let you know what's the breakdown for the week and where to go and what they've been talking about. And I really enjoy that. And I think that's a really great way, if you're a podcaster or a YouTuber even, is like, hey, here's the breakdown of this week. That way you don't have to wad through it. Direct links are always amazing because people are lazy or busy. So I like that. I think that's what a lot of podcasters should do if they do have MailChimp. It's like, hey, a weekly update. This is what we did in case you missed it.
So it's kind of a follow-up. We were doing that for a short while. It just was a lot of work where it was like, here are the shows from this week. And then I put the direct links and I put the direct links to any blog postings that were, kind of highlighted.
Yeah, it's a little hard when you have 88 plus things going on. But if you just have the one podcast, I think that's a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, well, I do totally agree. I really liked when it was happening. It was just a lot of work. We almost need a full-time person just doing that.
Yes. Well, marketing, people, companies have these, even small companies have these marketing departments because it is a full-time job.
It really
it's
is.
Always something new. It's always a new trend that people want to bandwagon and jump onto for 3 months. And then you have to go back to scratch.
So what, let's use an example. We'll go outside of the network. I mean, we could stick with the network and say one show, but like if you take League of Geeks, so League of Geeks, they have their main show. And then they also have one called Movie Geeks where they're putting like a movie podcast up. And I think they're adding something else. And it's just so that they get like 3 or 4 pieces of content throughout the week. So for them, at the end of the week, let's say they would have to decide when, but let's say Sunday, they send out an email with, hey, here's what you missed this week. Little highlights. You know what? Now that I'm saying it, that would be a place to maybe drop a clamor.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be great? I mean, not just have the links, but take just a 20-second thing where it's just really funny or really good. And you're like, something that really entices that listener. Embed that in a couple of emails. That would be excellent.
Now that you bring up clamor with this whole situation with SoundCloud, that's been another really great way and a pretty way to share your audio and visual content in a social manner that's integrated into Facebook and Twitter as well.
Yeah. Well, and it looks really good. And when you're talking with email, once again, this is a person who wants this. And if you have a clamor in there that is visually very nice. And you've made original artwork for it too. That's key too. But if you have that and they're scrolling through, you might just capture them on things that you wouldn't normally have captured them on. So like with League of Geeks, maybe they don't listen to the movie thing, but you happen to put something about Last Starfighter and it's a really funny moment. If they click on it, they listen, they like it, they might just click through and actually listen to the show. So that's a real positive. So, okay, I want to talk about the strategy of it real quick here. Aside from what you said, what you're saying is the general, that's kind of the personal. But I don't know, I am sure you're aware of this, but I was not. It was one of those things I think I kind of assumed, but now I'm really aware of. And I know this happens with other ones. I'm going to say MailChimp because that's who we use, okay? Or if for those of you that listen to Serial, MailChimp. They have triggers set up. So you can go in there and you can make one. And I've seen some really great usage of this. You can go in there and set it up so that when somebody subscribes to Nuff Said, immediately an email goes to them that says, hey, thanks so much for subscribing. If you're really meant to subscribe to this, click here. We want to make sure that you really want to be on our mailing list. If you click there, which most people do, immediately they get another one that is kind of, what I was going to set up is something that's more like a highlight for the week. Like you were saying, like, hey, here's a couple of episodes or here are a couple of highlights of things that we're doing. Thanks so much for joining, that kind of a thing. Now, here's what's great. You can set up triggers for a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, so that I'm having that constant interaction. And make it so that it's not the day-to-day things. The things you're talking about, putting in, here's what happened this week. That is what you're going to send in the immediate. So at the end of the week, Sunday I send this out to all my things. Hey, here are the shows you may have missed, right? But these are the things that are like, I send something out like, hey, just a reminder, if you click on this link and you shop with Amazon, it puts a cookie on your computer and we actually get a commission when you purchase for the next 24 hours. That's something I don't need to sit and think about. Did I do the Amazon thing? I wanted to trigger that like once a month or once a quarter.
Yeah, the automation feature in MailChimp is really good.
So I think that's something else. So the point is when you're developing your strategy with email, that is a really good tool. And you want to think about it. You also don't want to inundate people. You don't want it so that you've got triggers for every single day. Mm-hmm. Who's going to look at all that? But if you think about it and you go, these are the things I know, the general things that I want to have hit. And what you're doing is you're planting seeds that, somebody who joins today, their 3-month thing is different than the guy who joins next week. His 3-month thing is a week later. So you've always got that Amazon email going out there. You've always got that TeePublic email going out there. You've always got the clamors going out there. I mean, does that sound like a good strategy? Do you like that?
Yeah, it's definitely a good strategy as long as you space it out.
Yeah, spacing out is key. I agree with that.
Well, okay, let me ask you this question because this is one of my pet peeves.
Oh, you were hesitating. I knew there was something there. Go ahead, Lilith.
No. It's not about that. It's about how you set up the link to click to subscribe to your newsletter. If it instantly pops out the minute your page loads, I'm not clicking it.
What do you mean?
That
link thing that pops up at the front?
Yes.
I hate those. You know what? I think they probably capture a lot of people, but you know what? They make me crazy. I see it with a lot of blogs. That thing pops up, it covers the whole screen. And the worst part is when they don't have it integrated properly, if you're using it on a device and you can't click it off. Have you ever had that? And you're trying to read what's behind that thing? Oh, I hate it. We don't do that. Ours, it's at the side, it's up in the upper right-hand corner, and it's very much, your eye goes to, here's the description of what the show is, here's that Amazon thing with the description of why we have it there, right under it, join our mail list with a single address bar. And then under that, it's got shows. So it's like, what do you want to have at the top? See, we should do a show just about designing your webpage. What do you want to have them look at first? And what's that initial reaction? What you're talking about, my reaction is the same as yours. I hate it. I've actually left pages immediately just from seeing that.
Yes, I agree. Back button has never been mashed so fast.
Right. Well, I'm even worse than that. I get annoyed. I just hit the red button and close it. Just like, nope, done. No, go into something else. Oh. So, okay. I think that once again, email, I think we've stressed how important it is. I think that there's a lot to explore there. And I think we're going to have to come back and explore it more. based on, for me, what we're doing. Because we are starting to see some effect here. I think at some point I'll just come out and I'll lay out some more of the strategy, like maybe what we did for 6 months. And we'll see if that has any effect. But I'm telling you, I am definitely thinking there is something really strong with this email campaign building. So, Lilith, there's lots of news this week, and I know you've been chomping at the bit, so I hand it to you.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is Instagram has gone from 15 seconds of video to 1 minute. And people think that it's a strange move, but I think it's awesome because that means that they're listening to their consumer base.
Yeah.
Because that's what people wanted, so they gave it to them.
Yep. I think it's great. I don't think that everyone should try to fill a full minute every time. But
a minute is a lot longer than a lot of people think when you're trying to come up with content.
I agree. But I think that the fact that you have that option now, it's already got my mind racing because I am definitely on board with Instagram. And I think this is great.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Although they did their update did start off with a little bit of a snafu. The log out button disappeared for a while.
Oh, I didn't.
They fixed that. So.
Yeah, it must have been a fix that I completely missed because I never even saw that happen.
It happened on Tuesday. It was fixed by Tuesday night, I think it was.
I was busy. We were downtown all day Tuesday, so I missed the entire thing. That's good. So I want to bring up an Instagram thing that I think this is one of those that I think hit, but I never heard about it. And today when you and I were talking, you hadn't heard about it. Finally, Instagram has added it so you can have multiple accounts. That was the worst. Because we have multiple accounts and it's like I could sign up for them, but I couldn't navigate between them. I'd have to log out and log in with the next account. And now they have it so that when you go in, if you go to the page, the profile page, you can set it up. And when you click on up at the top, I'm using my phone for it. When you click on your name up at the top, it opens up a thing. And underneath it is a little plus and it says add account. You can just keep adding accounts. And then once you're set up, you can just go between them. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's fantastic. So finally.
Maybe that means they're going to fix their API to be more friendly for developers. Please, so you can actually schedule your dang Instagram posts.
Wouldn't that be great? Well, and that's just it. That's something they're really missing. But this was something they were really missing too. If I had to name the two things that I wish they'd do, they fixed one of the two.
Definitely. And it's so weird that, Facebook owns them and it's taken this long for them to kind of pull it together like that. But I'm loving that they are.
Yeah. I you know what? Keep it going. And I love the integration with Facebook and with Twitter. To me, we've talked about this before. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. You and I have talked about it off the show. But creating content for each of the different avenues. If you put something on Instagram, you don't necessarily want everything to push to Twitter and to Facebook or make that your only way of doing it because then everyone that goes to your different social media is getting the same thing everywhere. You want them to look at your different things and have communication in the way that hits them best. And but I do like that I can push from Instagram first. I really like that.
That's the reason why I initially started using Tumblr because they had that option and they, so I really enjoyed it. And the way that the link comes out is really nice too. So that's always fun instead of like how sometimes when you tweet a link from Twitter, it gets ugly and it's not very pretty.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing I've been really using with now this, you know what? I just thought of a third thing Instagram needs. You need to be able to embed a link into it.
Yeah.
That's a real problem. So we designed our own t-shirts and I did a campaign where I was putting those t-shirts out there and I put it on Instagram and it got lots of likes, but you can't click on the link. So the way you game that is you put it in your profile, you put the link to what you want them to go to as the website link.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I show the picture of the t-shirt and then I say, if you're interested in this shirt, you want to shop with our stuff, click on the link in our profile. That's not optimum.
It's not.
It would be so much easier if they could just click right there. And I know
click the t-shirt, the picture of the t-shirt.
That would be even better. But I'll take it if it can just go in the description at this point. Get one of them right. But I'm
sure they're working on it somewhere.
I'm sure they are. I do love that I can push it to the different things. And the thing is, since I've been using it more in the last week, because of being able to switch between accounts, one thing that I've also found, addressing what I had said about, having different content, I have specific content for Instagram. There are things I'm doing there. Yes, I'm pushing to Twitter. I'm pushing to Facebook. There are certain things I will only put on Instagram, certain things I only push to Twitter, and certain things I'm only pushing to Facebook. So
well, yeah, all the mediums are actually kind of different because of the audiences that use them. So that's really smart.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that, once again, I really like about Instagram. I think if you set everything up and you only have time to have one, have Instagram, set up your Facebook and your Twitter, and just, push from there. But I think you're going to find real quickly that you're going to start developing strategies for you for those specific audiences. And I also still there are things I only paste on Facebook. They don't go to Instagram or Twitter, or Facebook and Twitter share, or only Twitter. So, you got to really think about what message you're sending from where. But Instagram's a great starting point, especially because of the visual element.
Okay, can we talk about the Snapchat thing?
Yes! We got Instagram out of our hair. Let's hear it.
Now we're working on Snapchat. So they just had a update to the website, and they're having this tool called Download My Data. So now you can see everything, all your analytics and all these really cool things that are, and Google and Facebook have stuff like this. But I think this is actually better graphics and representation and easier to understand.
Yeah, I haven't played with this at all yet. Now, is this something that came, you know what? I just opened Snapchat and I got a message from Team Snapchat, Chat 2.0, makes it simple to communicate whenever you want. This is great. This is already, I'm digging it. You know that I'm liking Snapchat quite a bit. I'm still not loving every element of it. There are things I would definitely like to see change, but boy, I'm having fun using it. I love the My Story. And that's another thing. I'm taking it and pushing it to these other elements. And now that Instagram has the minute of video, you can put that whole minute of video on Instagram. And I'll tell you what, when it was just taking 15 seconds of video and putting it on there, that was one of the most heavily trafficked things that we'd put on Instagram. So I love it. So you're using these analytics. I haven't looked at them at all. They're good. They're solid.
I just like the way that they're simply presented and they're not confusing, whereas Google and Facebook can be a little confusing and not as straightforward as it needs to be. Yeah. Some people are saying it's a little too basic, too bare bones, but that's just kind of how I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
They also have video calling, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I put in some new emojis because, emojis are everybody's jam right now.
Right. I'm a little surprised by the video chat. I haven't seen anything about that either. So, one more thing to get in your trophy case on Snapchat, huh?
I guess so.
So, all right. So, new tools, and we can put a link. You sent me an article. I can put a link to that in our show notes. It's from the Los Angeles Times. What does Snapchat know about your new tool offers? Know about you. New tools offer some answers. So we will put that in there. All right. You got another one. Unless you got more to talk about with Snapchat.
No. We haven't talked about Pinterest on this podcast yet. And Pinterest is you get obsessed with it for a month and then you forget about it for 6 months until something new and fun comes out on Pinterest. And that's literally what just happened to me. They just had an update with Pinterest and it's the how-to, in-depth how-to pins. I am addicted to DIY and how-to tutorials on YouTube. So this is actually really awesome because I prefer to read them than watch them.
Yeah.
So
I actually like
awesome.
it. I like it both ways. I think it depends on the type of learner you are. I'm multimodal, but I do respond really well to this type of visual learning. So when I'm looking at this, I love it. I love that it shows simple how-to pictures. It just makes sense. So this is really, I think this is going to be one of those things that draw a lot more people to Pinterest.
Definitely. Although a lot of people who've been on Pinterest since the beginning, they feel like it is getting way too corporate, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that's what actually keeps Snapchat afloat and keeps it innovating and making new things. So
wouldn't you say that's
a bad
actually
thing.
I think Snapchat was less interesting until it became more corporate, until that business part of it was driving it. Before it was just, goofy pictures of people showing their duck faces. Now, there's actually some interesting things happening, and it's because of that. I think Pinterest could use that same model, is start, finding ways. It doesn't have to become all ads and corporate, but I think that like this, it doesn't, yeah, corporations are going to grip onto this, but wouldn't you like to see, just like on YouTube, how I go there and I look and see, what are people doing for email lists? They do a simple visual breakdown of how they assemble their list. It'd be great. It'd be great.
Yeah.
It's just another way of teaching and learning.
Yeah, I think this is going to be nothing but good for Pinterest. I'm happy for them. And I want to attribute this probably to their new CEO and their game plan for Pinterest, because Pinterest is, it's kind of lost its shine from when it was, new.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, like we have a Pinterest, I always say a page. We have multiple pages, but, we have a Pinterest podcast Martha and Teresa do. And they get a lot of activity there. And it seems like a really huge potential that, yeah, maybe it's lost a little bit with the marketing community, but I think it's stuff like this that's going to bring that community back. I think that the fan base is there. They just got to find ways to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on it. So do we have anything else, or are we good for this week?
I think that was all the news that I wanted to talk about.
Okay, well, it was all good, and I'll try to get all these links in. You sent me some different things. Try to get those in the show notes. I'm not even going to say what we're going to do next week, because who knows? And who knows if we'll stick to it.
For the love of goodness, blab!
You want to do blab?
Yes.
All right. Next week is blab. I am all about talking about blab.
I'm very interested to hear what you have to say, because you are a Mac person and I'm a PC person. I want to see how our experiences have lined up.
Well, we've seen those commercials. I am definitely the cooler one of the two.
You are. I will give you that right.
Oh, I don't think so. All right. So that's it. Lilith, let's give social media. Where can people reach you?
If you want to live tweet the various DC shows with me, feel free to @Lilith Hellfire. I'm on Tumblr. It's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com, or you can just shoot me an email via lilithhellfire@lilithhellfire.com.
You just said a magic word. Next week is blab. The next week, I want to talk about Tumblr.
So bittersweet. But no, I'm glad that you now want to talk about Tumblr, because some interesting developments have happened.
That's why I want to talk about Tumblr, but we're going to just let that one sit. Next week is all blab.
Yes.
And news. All right. And then you can follow me @RSouthgate. You can follow the company @SMG Pods. We are on Facebook with all the various shows and things. The easiest entry point is to just go to Southgate Media Group on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram. As I said, we're adding various pages now. I do not have one for New Media Lab. I don't know if we will. We might just use our SMG Pods one for that, but we'll see. And I think that does it for now. If you do want to support the show, I mentioned that Amazon link before. If you go to the website, southgatemediagroup.com, in the upper right-hand corner is an Amazon ad with the description. And basically what the description is how it works. If you want to support us, click on that link if you're going to shop on Amazon, and it puts a cookie on your computer for 24 hours. It's a timed cookie, okay? Anything you purchase for 24 hours, anything. So buy expensive stuff. We get a tiny little sliver of, and that helps support the network. It helps support the shows. So if you want to support us, that's a real easy way. You're already shopping on Amazon. Why not, take care of a show you love? I think that does it. Once again, thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to talk about blab next week. Lilith, again, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you guys for listening. I hope you find all these things helpful.
Keep creating.